Good afternoon, everyone. We'll give it a couple of seconds to let everyone join the virtual room before we go ahead and get started. I keep hearing those welcome tones, so we'll give it a couple more seconds. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Karen McCrae. I am Senior Director of the Institute program. And on behalf of the entire team, wanted to officially welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your day this afternoon to join us on Institute's first ever info session. Couple of housekeeping items. If you haven't already noticed, everyone has been muted upon entry. We encourage you to utilize the chat function. In fact, while I am talking right now, please feel free to let us know where you're joining us from. You can go ahead and drop that in the chat if you wish. And there will be a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the call, at which time you will have the ability to unmute yourself, should you prefer that form as a way to ask a question. But in the meantime, throughout the course of the session, please don't be shy and let us know of any questions or concerns that you have. Thank you. Looks like we have people from South Carolina and Kansas. Angie, hello. Minnesota, New Mexico, North Carolina, Georgia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma. All right, I'm not going to go through them all, but thank you. Thanks, everyone. Another note is that this session is being recorded. So after the call tomorrow morning, you will receive a follow-up email from our team member, Nathan Graham, and it will include information about the program as well as links to register and a link on how to access the recording. So please be on the lookout for that. And lastly, do want to recognize that those of you joining us on the call today do have varying levels of familiarity with the Institute program. So this session was really designed to provide an overview. So if you feel at the end of the session, if your question was not addressed or answered, or if you just want to learn more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and hopefully we'll be able to get you in and hopefully see you on site, if not this summer, then in the future. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. So Institute for Organization Management, or Institute or IOM for short, is a continuing education program for associations, chambers of commerce, and nonprofit professionals. It takes place at 4 locations across the country, all specifically on college campuses. So that is something unique to the program in that we are not just in a hotel ballroom. The classes themselves are in an actual college classroom. So right off the bat, that helps prepare our attendees getting into the mindset of learning and continuing education. So that's kind of a unique element that I like to share when first talking about the program. In addition to the education, which focuses on anything and everything on how to run a nonprofit organization, we place a strong emphasis on networking and building relationships. We often hear from participants and graduates and volunteers that the relationships formed and the contacts made at Institute, both on the professional and personal level, are the highlights of their Institute journey. So that's another unique element that, while you can get that at other conferences, we really pride ourselves on having that element to the Institute program. But going back to the education, I am actually going to turn it over to my colleague, Cece Francisco, manager of Institute, who works directly with our faculty and oversees the curriculum, among many other things. But she will speak more specifically on those elements of the program. So Cece, take it away.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Cece Francisco, and I work with faculty, curriculum, and our social media. So if you're not already, feel free to go follow us, Institute for Organization Management, or on Instagram, IOM Educates. Um, so just to give an overview, our curriculum is based off of the two bodies of knowledge. So CAE, which is a certified association executive, which is for our association folks, and our CCE, which is a certified chamber executive. So we base the curriculum off of these two bodies of knowledge. In total, the coursework is 96 continuing nonprofit education hours. And just to give a distinction, IOM is a recognition. It is not an accredited certification. So I know these terms are very similar. You sometimes hear recognition, certification, credential, designation. We do just specify IOM is a recognition. There is no exam that you would sit for, such as with CAE and CCE. The classes, you do need to complete the coursework over the 4 years or the 4 sites in the very engaging classes. So the classes, there's a variety of different topics that are taught at Institute. You'll have classes from HR, management, leadership, governance, non-dues revenue, marketing, government affairs. So quite a variety, and then other classes as well. And not every class, we do specify for our attendees that not every class is going to be necessarily applicable today. So if you're coming from, let's say, a sales background in your organization, you may not need to apply the finance classes at this time, but the classes are designed to inform you of all the facets of what a nonprofit organization needs in order to operate. And there's also the potential that you would need these classes in the future. So we do just remind our attendees to take what you're learning in classes, whether or not you think it's immediately applicable, because it could be applicable down the line, or just the overall understanding will help as you're contributing in your organization. There are in total during the week 9 classes, and 6 of those are going to be core classes. And a core class is 3 hours long. It is based off of which year you're attending or which site. Um, so we do just distinguish that the first year classes doesn't necessarily mean that it's entry level or that it's beginner content. And just because it's in a 4th year class doesn't mean it's necessarily advanced. The classes are, again, to give you a breadth of knowledge. So they don't necessarily build on each other from year 1 to 4 or site 1 to 4, but they are more spread out over the 4 years to give a myriad of topics. And then the second type of classes, so the first is our core classes, the 3 hours, and those are set based on your year. And then you have 3 electives for each site. And these are 2-hour classes. This is kind of a choose your own adventure where you get to choose a little bit more and tailor your learning experience based off of which topics you're interested in, what you need in your organization back home. And these are divided into 3 different groups. So you can choose 3 electives per site per year. So you have a chance to overall attend 12 of those electives when you're complete, once the program's been completed. So transitioning from our curriculum and looking at our faculty, we have in total about 130 faculty members, and these are the people teaching on site. These are subject matter experts, can come from a variety of backgrounds. So practitioners, the people that are currently in chambers and associations in their communities. We have consultants, we have professors, and then experts. So for example, for law classes, we have lawyers that teach these classes, and for our finance classes, we have CPAs that are teaching that. We have, a variety, honestly, legends, as we call them, that have been teaching for 20 years. And then we have new faculty as well every year. So we bring in each year, so calendar year from the 4 sites, about 20% of our faculty are new. And that's a really good way for us to keep a pulse on what's current in the industry, making sure that we're bringing in fresh perspectives and making sure that we're staying current in an ever-changing landscape. As far as how we bring in new faculty, we conduct interviews each year for new faculty members, and those interviews are held typically in the spring and in the fall by a staff member, myself, and a member of our curriculum committee. And we are always improving the process of how we're selecting faculty that we're bringing in. And there are primarily 2 ways that we bring in new faculty. The first is people that are already familiar with the program. So sometimes we have people that have completed the program that are interested to return as faculty members. Sometimes we have people that have friends or colleagues that have gone through the program, so are already aware of Institute and come to us with an interest. And then the other way that we bring in new faculty is by recommendations. So we really do, and we are interested in the recommendations that attendees have, that our volunteers have. If you have somebody in your community that has presented at your organization, has done a workshop or a training, and you think that they would be a great fit, we love to hear about it, and we love to consider them for potential faculty. So that's just a plug. If you think of somebody, definitely let us know. And I would say, just in summary, while we have faculty members that are subject matter experts, a large part of what our attendees share that they took away from Institute is the peer-to-peer learning. So having people that are going through the same experiences in their own community, sharing what's worked, what hasn't worked, having that support group, having people that reach out. We as staff members go through the program as well. And I'm on email chains of, a year later, that it's a strong community to have, where when you have a question going on in your organization, a lot of people will rely on their classes and the the friends that they made at Institute. So that's the overview of faculty and curriculum. And with that said, I will hand it over to Nathan, who's going to talk a little bit more about fees and scholarships.
Let's talk about the fun stuff, the numbers, scholarships, fees, all of it, fun stuff all around. Hi, my name is Nathan Graham. I am the Senior Program Coordinator for Institute. Some of you I've emailed with. If you've emailed iom@uschamber.com, you've gotten a response from me. So thank you for, reaching out to me. It keeps me employed, thankfully. So let's talk about numbers. So the U.S. Chamber member rate is $13.95, and then that non-member rate is $18.95. For those of you interested in the early enrollment deadlines for Midwest, those of you interested in Midwest Institute, that's May 12th. Southeast, it's June 2nd, and Northeast, it's July 7th. After those dates, the price goes up $200, so that member rate becomes $15.95, and that non-member rate becomes $2,095. And then the final enrollment deadlines for Midwest it's May 24th. For Southeast, it's June 14th, and for Northeast, it's July 19th. Obviously, we don't have those dates for winter yet, as that is much further down the line. We have to get through these 3 sites first. And then let's move on to scholarships. Scholarships, there's 3 different rough areas that scholarships kind of fill. There's the Institute's National Scholarship, the Regents Scholarship, and the State Partner Scholarship. So we communicate through our social media and emails. The IOM application that you can fill out, that will cover Institute's National Scholarship and Regent Scholarship. That's where that will go towards. For the National Scholarship, each site awards 1 scholarship worth $500 towards a first-year tuition. So if it's your first time going, that could be a good scholarship to aim for. There's also the Regent scholarships. Those, we get all of the names and then send them back out to the individual sites with their individual scholarship committees, and they make a decision on that. There's no real set amount. They just kind of come up with their own amount, sometimes a very specific amount, sometimes a very general amount. It can be fun with we have fun with numbers here. That's why I wear these fun glasses, because we have fun with numbers. And then each site determines that. And then for state partner scholarships, this is where our application doesn't reach that. State partner scholarships, you can check with your individual state chamber and association to see if they're a state partner. Also, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about becoming a state partner, if your organization would like to become or join that program. We're certainly we're open arms here. We'll welcome you with open arms. And then finally, the actual fun part, the discounts, enrollment incentives, the stuff that will get you in the door for cheaper than the price that I just told you. So we have the Premier Investor Discount. So this is for our U.S. Chamber members who are Advantage level and above, so Advantage and Elite, CCC 100 and C100. That will, the first year, your first year going, you can get $570 off of that member rate of $13.95. That puts you sub $1,000 right there. And then for your second through 4th years, that takes $300 off the cost. Fast tracking, always, if you want to make it through the program in less than 4 years, if you want to go through and do maybe 2 sites a year, get it out in 2 years, that's always an option. It's what we recommend for our fast trackers. For that second site within that calendar year, you get $300 off that. The first site, you have to pay the full price, or if you have a discount, then there's a different price. But for the fast tracker, that's $300 off that. That's for the second site within the year. And then finally, a group discount. If your organization wants to send a whole plethora of people, a whole passel of people, as my father would say, you get a discount for that. The discount only counts for the second person and beyond, but it can go between sites. So if you send one person to Winter, two people to Midwest, and three people to Northeast, then those two people that go to Midwest and those three people that go to Northeast can get that group discount. That first person at Winter will have to pay the full price, but get someone else to cover their lunch or dinner throughout the week or something, they can have that. And then all discount codes must be entered at the time of registration. This is just, so feel free to always reach out to iom@uschamber.com if you have a question about a discount, a question about membership. So you can go ahead and get those discount codes so that your registration process is as seamless as possible. Also, our discounts stack upon each other. So we can create custom discount codes for you that will bring down the cost dramatically. So if you're a premier investor, you're fast tracking, and you got a group discount, that's a whole lot of money that you can save your chamber, association, or just yourself. If you're coming for yourself for your own personal business, then that'll save some money for you. Any questions about membership and anything about the program can be directed to me at iom@uschamber.com. So I'll pass that off. Do you want me to go back to Karen, or should I direct it to my favorite person in the world, Angie?
I'm gonna jump in, Nathan. I'm sorry you don't get to intro Angie, but thank you, Nathan and Cece, for sharing all of that information. So on the logistical front, we're going to talk a little bit about sites and dates. Obviously, we are getting ready. We're gearing up to hit the road in just a few weeks for our first site, which is Midwest Institute. And that takes place in Madison, Wisconsin. You can see on the slide here all of the rest of the 2023 summer dates, as well as next winter in January of 2024. As I mentioned previously, our locations are all on college campuses. So because of that, Institute does have to take place when school is not in session so that we have access to all of the buildings and we don't have to fight with the students who are on campus at that time. So that's why we have 3 in the summer and then 1 in January during winter break. Each site really does have their own unique culture. While the curriculum is the same, the faculty are teaching to the same curriculum, but they have their own style. And then each site also has an individual board of regents who we will hear from, a representative, in just a little bit. And they're all graduates of the program, and they are responsible for their specific site. So we always say that there's no wrong way to institute, if I were to use it as a verb. Pre-pandemic, I think it's safe to say that a large portion of our attendee base did choose to pick one program and stick with that site throughout the entirety of their institute journey. So 1 per calendar year. There was always a percentage of people, as Nathan mentioned, that did this fast tracking option, but it was a smaller amount. Since having come back from the pandemic with our first site in the fall of 2021, Centennial, we have seen an uptick in those attendees who have chosen to take advantage of that fast tracking option. And we really would recommend that if you were to do that, it would be the 2 years, as Nathan mentioned. So going to a winter site and then a summer site, and then the following calendar year, a winter site, and then graduating that summer. It really allows for time. I mean, aside from the fact that it's time away from your organization, it budget wise, it allows time to really absorb the information because it's a lot of information flowing in just a short 5-day time period. It is possible to do more in a given calendar year. We have had people do that, but really the recommendation is to do the 4 years or the 2, winter summer. But of course, you can institute however you would like. Going back to the specific sites, we are going to, I mentioned, hear from representatives. We have all of our past chairs of the Board of Regents for each of the 2022, 2023 sites on the call with us today. So I am going to turn it over first to Angie Whitcomb, IOM, just has assumed the role of President and CEO of Hospitality Minnesota, and she is going to speak a little bit about the Midwest, excuse me, site specifically and everything that she wants to share about Midwest. So Angie, over to you.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. And hello, Nathan. Thank you for my plaque. There's a story behind that I'll share with all of you when you attend Madison this June. I'm truly thrilled to be here today to talk to you about our site. I started my Institute journey in 2011, graduated from Midwest in 2014, and have not missed a June since then. They say Madison, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, is the Harvard of the Midwest. So I'm just going to leave that out there. You can do with it what you want, but I will say it is a beautiful city. We are surrounded by lakes. We're on the campus, and the Midwest in the summer, well, let's be honest, it's really our only good season. The rest of the year, it's cold and gross. But I will say this. Midwest, we all have our own cultures, and Karen's right. There's no wrong way to institute unless you don't come to Midwest. And if you look at these 4 pictures on the slides, everyone else kind of looks lined up and they're being talked to. Until you get to Midwest, we're mingling, we're eating, we're laughing, we're having fun. I wish that picture had sound. There's music playing. It truly is my favorite week every summer. But Midwest, you know, the Madison campus is beautiful. Everything is really easily contained. It's walkable. You arrive on Sunday, you park your car. You don't need it again until you leave on Thursday, and that's super convenient. It's easy to get to for flying, but the culture there, what struck me as we came back after COVID, and we at our site last summer, we had a bunch of fast trackers who had never been to Madison. And that's all, you know, when people come the first time, you worry like, oh, the classes are, you know, they're all gelled, and now here come these new fast trackers. Every single one of them said, I love this site. I felt so welcome. The culture was great. It was so much fun. And there's cheese curds, and there's beer, and there's free bacon on Tuesday nights at Wando's. But, you know, all that aside, wherever you go, Midwest is best. But wherever you go, just make the decision to invest in yourself, because as Karen said earlier, these are your people, or maybe it was Cece. I have relied on my classmates and my friends and colleagues from the board more professionally than I have relied on anyone in the last 13 and a half years. And personally, we've become such good friends. We're doing life together. And that's really the cool thing. And I think that's the unique thing about the industry we're in. I think we all lean into that a little bit, but the Institute experience, if you do nothing else for yourself professionally, wherever you go, Madison in June, it is well worth the investment from your organization, and the dividends will pay themselves back tenfold, hundredfold, like it's exponential. So, you know, I've enjoyed my time at Madison. I now serve on the board of trustees, and I'm excited to go experience the culture at the other sites and teach them how to be as great as Midwest. And that will be fun. But I hope you all take this time, what you learned today and what you glean, and reach out to any of us with questions, and just start your Institute journey. It is worth it. So that's all I have, Karen.
Thank you, Angie. And if you can't tell, there is no site pride associated from our volunteers. It's great. I love it. Next, we have Southeast, and I will turn it over to Pammy Jamar, IOM, President of the Athens Limestone Chamber. Pammy. Pammy? Are you there? I know that she was driving, so perhaps she has not made it to a place where she is comfortable chiming in here. So we will skip Sammy for the time being and see if we can circle back. And if not, I will go ahead and share my non-biased staff opinion and fun facts about our Southeast site. But for now, we'll go ahead and move on to Northeast. We are represented by Douglas O'Flaherty, IOM, Chief Operating Officer of the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association. Douglas, are you here?
I am here. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Karen. I just want to thank y'all for the opportunity to be able to talk about Northeast. I can't agree with Angie more in her assessment that no matter how you choose to institute, no site is wrong. But I will talk a little bit about Northeast Institute. And what makes the Northeast Institute great choice is the diversity of the students and the faculty in so many ways. From young, dare I say, old or seasoned, people that have just started their career in the nonprofit arena, to where veterans that, in all honesty, some of the people in my class could have taught the class. They were veterans. And so the diversity of the Northeast Institute is vast, from chambers to associations and everything in between, from domestic chambers to international chambers attend the Northeast Institute. Chamber of Commerces that have, as little as 100 members and less than $100,000 in a budget, to associations and other chambers who have well over 2,000, 3,000 members and millions in budgets. The diversity that we see at the Northeast Institute is vast. And it's one that where when you are in the classroom, you don't look at those kinds of things, but you celebrate the differences and you learn from the differences. And it's such a great opportunity that the Northeast Institute offers. Each attendee finds their place at Northeast Institute, depending on where they're at. They're always going to gel with another class or another classmate or another attendee. We find that whether it's in the dining hall or whether that's in the refectory, which happens to be the on-campus lounge. And then also, I want to talk a little bit about the actual facilities. Northeast Institute is at Villanova University, which is about 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia. It's very convenient and easy to get into. The Philadelphia airport is very large. It's got direct flights from all over the country. So most of our attendees can get there within one flight. It's also very close to Washington, D.C. in the Northeast. So a lot of national associations tend to come to Northeast because they can take the train or even drive into Philadelphia to come to the Northeast Institute. Classes are traditionally held in Berkeley Hall. And what makes Berkeley Hall great is over the past 10 years, they have renovated the entire building. So we have a brand new building. But moreover, is that the program is immersed in the Villanova culture. Our institute classrooms are often side by side with live college classes where the Villanova students are gaining their education. We have that same experience. We're walking side by side in hallways with Villanova students. And so for those of us who tend to have a little bit of nostalgia from our days that we were in college, it does take you back in time a little bit to do that. But it's really this type of atmosphere and culture initiates the opportunity for growth and professional development for each attendee. And that's what Northeast Institute offers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Douglas. And yes, I will say that Northeast has the highest number of campus tours that usually come through the building while we have our breaks and our transitions. So it's always fun to see all the hopeful 18-year-olds coming in. So we will move on to winter next. And those of you who are located in cold weather states would love the opportunity to head on out to Arizona in January. Representing winter, we have Lynn Olberding, IOM CCE, VP of Economic Development, MMAC/Milwaukee 7 at the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. So Lynn, please take it away.
Thanks, Karen. And I will just reiterate what's already been said about the importance of this program to my personal professional development. It has been one of the most impactful things that I have done in my career. And as Angie said, lifelong friendships. A lot of times my institute classmates are the first people I go to when I have a question or something that I want, some outside eyes to look in on. So make the most of your institute experience. And there isn't one way to institute, but just being part of the program, I think, is the most important thing, no matter what site you attend, whether you do it in 4 years or whether you do it in 2 years, or you find something that works best for you. I had someone in my class that came for 2 years, took off a year because of maternity leave, went to another site, and then came back and ended up graduating with, sort of our cohort, because that's what worked best for her and for her family and her situation at the time. So do what's right for you, but get the most out of your experience. At winter, we are on the University of Arizona campus. Arizona is a great place to be in January. I think this past winter when we were there in January of 23 was maybe the best weather we've had in all of the years that I have gone to Arizona. Just had really lovely sunshine days and a great time to be out of the Great Lakes cold here in Wisconsin. So would love to see you in Arizona. There's a bit of walking. So just as you're thinking about maybe where you want to go or what works for you, there is a bit of walking on the University of Arizona campus. We are housed in the typically in the Marriott Hotel, which is on campus, and just a short walk to the student center where all of the classes and breakouts and breaks and lunch are held. And so very much an easy walk, but just something for you to be aware of, depending on your situation and what you want to do. It is just a really great place to meet a lot of people from across the country. I think there tends to be people who go to each of the 4 sites, but I hope it's safe for me to say that we tend to see a lot more people from really across the nation at Winter Institute, just because people tend to either come there because of the time of year, come there because of the timing and how that works into their schedule, or if it is fast tracking. So if you don't really, I'm not sure we've exactly explained what fast tracking is, but fast tracking is what we call going through the program in less than 4 years. So typically, as it was mentioned, winter and then one of the summer sites. So a really great opportunity to meet people from lots of different chambers and associations from across the country and make really great contacts. So I'm going to drop my contact information in the chat. So if you do have any questions about Institute or about the winter site in particular, I would be happy to chat with you because I'm really passionate about the program. I believe in the program. I think that it is just a great opportunity. No matter where you are in your chamber or association career, you can make the most of the experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lynn. And I did hear from Pammy that she was having technical difficulties with the call here. So unless she joins, I can just share a little bit more about our Southeast site specifically. This takes place in Athens, Georgia at the University of Georgia. And this is actually our longest standing institute site. It has been there since 1963. So there is a long history and culture. I should have started with this in the beginning, and my apologies, but Institute as a program has been around since 1921. So starting off with that, it has been at a whole plethora of universities and college campuses across the country, but the longest standing one has been the University of Georgia. So this site does tend to draw the highest percentage of chamber professionals, especially focused in the Southeast area. Lynn, I agree. I think that's a true statement to say that winter tends to draw everyone from across the country. And that's not to say that someone from the West Coast can't attend Southeast, because of course you can go to whichever site you want to, but it does have the highest concentration of chambers specifically in the Southeast area. A lot of high energy at this site. Anyone who has attended who might be on this call can attest to that. And again, lot of chambers at that site as well. It is a little different logistics wise than some of the other sites because the building in which the program takes place, it is on a college campus, it is on UGA, but it is more of a conference center type in that it has meeting rooms as well as a hotel all under one roof. So it's really nice logistically for those who don't want to do much walking from the hotel to where the classes are held because it's all in the same building. That being said, it is a little bit of a travel if you're flying into the Atlanta airport. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hour ride from the airport to get to campus. Once you're there, you're there. Because it has such a high concentration of those in the Southeast area, many people drive, so that's not an issue to them. But did want to mention that and point that out. So again, great culture. There really is a great culture at every site, and they're all unique. They're all wonderful, and all led by a fantastic group of volunteers. Those who you just heard from, our Board of Regents past chairs. I can't remember, I apologize if I mentioned this, but all of our Board of Regents are graduates of the program, and they donate their time to serve in this capacity on each of our boards to help promote the program and ensure a smooth flow of events. So thank you for speaking, everyone, all of you past chairs who were able to participate. And then the next thing I do want to share are resources. So on this slide, if you're looking, it's just a plethora of links. You can at a later date, if you want to just reference the slide deck and individually click each link, you're more than welcome to. But just so you know, there are a variety of resources out there. Our resource center and webinars, if you're not already familiar, Institute does offer monthly webinars in the months that the program is not taking place. And those are facilitated by our faculty members, so you can get a small taste of what you will see actually on site. The Prospective Student Toolkit is a resource for you all, prospective attendees. You can take it back for general knowledge for yourself, but also it has information that might help you if you need some data to support selling it to your board or your leadership at your organization. Those are great resources, and they're actually broken down into chamber focused, association focused, and general nonprofit focused. FAQs that we have on our website. We do have an Institute blog that is updated weekly, and those posts are provided by our faculty and volunteers and sometimes attendees as well. And then we just launched a podcast last month. We had our second episode actually drop yesterday. So all of these things, podcast and blog, webinars, as well as our social media accounts, which I'll talk about in a second, we started and implemented a new campaign in 2023 with CC leading the charge on this, focusing on one specific topic per month. So each month, all of those avenues do focus on whatever the given topic is. This month in April is governance. So all of the things that I just mentioned do revolve around that topic. All of the topics are things that are taught at Institute and of course relevant to those of us in this industry. Our social media links, CC mentioned that earlier. Those are the best way, if you are comfortable on social media, to stay up to date on all things Institute. We are constantly promoting important dates and deadlines and programs such as webinars, links to the blog posts directly, as well as testimonials. So you can see and hear from attendees, graduates, volunteers, faculty alike on their experiences and what they got out of the Institute program and specific to the topic of the month in which they are posted. Also, another way to stay up to date, if you are interested in getting our monthly newsletter, if you're in our database, you might already be getting that now. If not, and you're interested, just let us know, send us an email at iom@uschamber.com, or you can go onto the website and see on that right-hand column, there is a button about, I think, 4 buttons down that says sign up for our emails. So that's another easy way to get added to our system, to our database, and stay up to date on all things Institute. So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor and see if there are any questions. I do see, Savannah, that you said there was an issue, so thank you for letting us know with Northeast registration, and Angie, love your response to that. We'll get that taken care of, and so sorry about that. Nathan, thanks for being on top of it. But any questions about the program or a site specific, anything for our volunteers, for anyone on staff? I do want to give a shout out also to another team member, Isabel Stone, who is behind the scenes. She is running this meeting, doing all of the behind the scenes stuff with teams. She is our associate manager and responsible for so much behind the scenes. She builds all of our registrations, also manages our class advisors, which if you attend, you will learn all about what a class advisor is and what they do and how important they are, and many other things Isabel does. But that is a fun picture of the staff there. We are also led by our fearless leader, Raymond Toll. He is the vice president of Institute. I see Caroline, housing for Villanova. Yes, so we do have 2 options. Thank you for those who are not looking at the chat. Caroline has asked about the 2 housing options at the Northeast site specifically. We have a hotel option as well as an on-campus option. Northeast is the only site that does have this this dual option for housing, and it's really up to you. If you want the traditional hotel experience, then we would recommend the hotel. If you want more of a college experience, they are apartments, but they are on a college campus. So they do not come with all of the amenities that you would get at a hotel. It is a much more economical option, and it's also more conveniently located. The hotel at Northeast is about a 10-minute drive, and transportation is not provided. You are responsible for getting to and from on your own. If you are on campus, it's literally a 4-minute walk across the street. So it's really up to you, whatever you would like to do as far as that housing option goes. So I hope that answers that question. Registration deadline for Southeast. Nathan, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, if you don't mind.
It's already in
Sharing
the
that
chat.
again.
You're good. It's already
Thank
in the
you.
chat. You're good.
Already in the chat. Thank you. Sorry, I'm slow to respond here. Access to this video, absolutely. It is being recorded, and Nathan will be sending out an email tomorrow morning to share links to registration as well as a link to access this recording if you want to go back for reference. The hotel at UGA is sold out, yes. So I would recommend definitely contacting the hotel directly. We do not have a waiting list. There are cancellations. I will admit, I don't know the logistics of how they manage the waiting list, but I would just recommend contacting the property directly. We do have an overflow at Southeast. So there is a second option that can be found information on our sites and dates webpage under Southeast. It's the Spring Hill Suites. It's about less than a mile away. Again, transportation will not be provided, so you would be responsible for getting to and from, but there is an actual Institute affiliated room block at that overflow hotel for Southeast. And follow-up email with the, yep. Thank you, Nathan. Sorry, I should read through everything first before I respond. Thank you. Any other questions? Anything that I missed in the chat, or anyone want to raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask a question? All right. Well, thank you again for taking the time to join us. And hopefully, this was helpful. Again, if you did not have your question answered, or if you think of something later, please reach out. We have our contact info there as far as our website, email, phone number, and the hashtag. And we hope to see you on site again, if not this summer, then next time in 2024. Thanks, everyone, and hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you.